Good afternoon, Elias. Can you please tell us what is suicide?
Good afternoon. How you guys? Hope you guys are fine. Suicide is when someone takes his or her life. Doesn't matter if you hang yourself with a rope or you overdose yourself or anything that can lead to your death. That's suicide.
What are the major causes of suicide?
Oh, major causes of suicide. Suicide can actually be caused by a lot of overthinking, and when you have a lot of problems, and when you are untrue to yourself or unreal to yourself, because you find people that actually lead themselves into situations that will make them commit suicide. Let me say, for example, the teenagers of nowadays. We actually tend to do a lot of things that actually can backfire at us again, meaning that we might end up committing suicide because we don't know how to forestall the past or what we have actually done. So yeah, that's why.
Why do you think the cases are rapidly increasing?
um, these cases are increasing because people are less educated on how to deal with these issues. There are less awarenesses on how to deal with suicidal thoughts. People aren't aren't aware of other situations. People don't know what to do when they have these thoughts. That's why these cases are increasing. Because if people were actually educated on this, if they knew what to do, if they knew how to forestal this, then suicidal cases wouldn't have been that much.
Okay, what can we do as Namibian citizens to put an end to suicide?
We can create more awarenesses. We can come up with more educational campaigns on suicide. We can, yeah, I think that's the two major things we can do. But then we can also make this to be a talk, a home talk at home. Parents should actually talk about these things with their kids. Parents should let their kids to be more open with them. Parents should actually, some of the parents should actually get a little bit educated on how to know when their children are going through phases, because I can't only focus on children, but then on the youth, teenagers. But then everyone goes through that phase. So I think a lot of us need to get that psychology of knowing that someone isn't doing well, of knowing that someone is about to do something, let me say suicide, overdose, self-harm, or anything. So I feel like we need that psychological education, that psychological need to see that someone isn't doing fine. Yes.
Okay, does mental health have to do with the increasing number of suicide? If yes, please explain how.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because and I feel like a lot of people don't know this, because a lot of people don't know that the a lot of people don't know that there's something called mental health. That's the problem. So mental health is, this is when you're going through a phase. You just you just don't know what's actually going on. You just feel like, I'm not fine, and you have a lot of thoughts. You're thinking about a lot of stuff. You feel like, no, you feel like, no, this is just not fair. If you're actually going through a lot, even a small thing, can trigger you to commit suicide. Just a small thing, even just a small argument with someone on the street, a small argument with a teacher can actually trigger you to commit suicide. I feel like people should consider knowing and getting educated on what is mental health, so that a lot of us will know if we're going through the phase, and will know what to do when we are going through this phase.
Okay, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to commit suicide?
Mm, I would advise them to see a social worker, to see the is it the child, the what, child, yeah, the child care service. They can call them. It's a free toll number. um, you know, we can actually approach a lot of people. I would advise you to approach your pastor. There's always that auntie in the neighborhood that cares a lot about people. Your own parents. Uh, Even myself, you can approach me. So yeah.
So can you please tell us what is depression?
Depression is when one is going through uh, phases. Let me say uh, unconditional phases you can't really control. Uh, uh, these phases can be caused by problems. These phases can be caused by bullying, can be cyberbullying, whatever type of bullying. These phases can be brought. When you're undermined, you're underestimated, you are disrespected, and nobody looks up to you. When you feel less fortunate than others. This can all cause depression, but depression doesn't really have to be something that should lead you to take your life, because there are a lot of solutions to these type of issues. There are a lot of things we can do to these type of issues. A lot of people do self-harm. A lot of people want to take their lives. A lot of people want to commit suicide. People just want to jump into onto a moving truck. Like the previous day, I was watching a video and a guy just jumped into the road, and then he got run over by a truck. People actually going through depression silently. You can never really tell if someone is going through depression, because you know that this is our generation is actually a happily sad generation on the outside, if I could say that. Because this generation tend to be so happy on social media, but then they're going through a lot. You can't really help someone that you feel like, or you think is happy. A lot of people just they all just show the happiness. They don't show the sadness. But then I don't blame them. And I can't blame society. I feel like it's just how the generation believes. But yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, so who goes through depression?
People with a lot of thoughts, a lot of overthinking. As I said before, people that are psychologically bullied. Those are the people that go through depression. People that don't know what to do at these times. Like a lot of people went through depression in this course, like the previous year, last year, 2020. Yeah, since the beginning of 2020 to around about this year, April 2021, April. A lot of people were depressed. People were depressed. It was all just broken hearts and sad emojis going around. People didn't have conversations, no fun conversations, laughing emojis. It was all broken hearts and crying emojis. People were depressed. A lot of people lost jobs. That's just an example I'm giving. But depression is actually most of us. A lot of people are going through depression. I might also be going through depression. I maybe just don't know how it feels. You know. But then, yeah, as people say sometimes, people say that depression can actually be inherited. They say it can be a medical disease. So yeah, that's what they believe. I'm saying it under correction. Yeah.
Okay, so the last question. Does depression have to do anything with mental health? And if yes, how?
I think it does. Cause an unhealthy mental health, uh, will lead to depression. When you're mentally not strong. That's how it leads to depression. Cause any small thing can trigger you. Any small issue that can lead to you being broken down can just lead to depression. So I think it really does.
Okay, thank you so much, Elias, for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.